Okay, let's unpack this. We're diving into Taiwan today.
Right, and the sources we have, they describe it as a mesmerizing island nation.
Yeah, a true gem for global travelers is another quote.
Mhm.
This deep dive, it's really for you if you're curious about what makes Taiwan tick.
Maybe you're thinking of visiting or, just want to get a better handle on it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Without getting totally bogged down in, too much detail. So our mission, pulling straight from this material,
Is to pull out the most interesting bits, right? The fascinating nuggets and the practical stuff, too.
yeah. We're looking at sources that paint this picture of contrasts, ancient traditions meeting modern life.
And that nature versus city thing, too. Stunning landscapes right next to vibrant urban centers.
So what we want to explore, based purely on these sources, is the core appeal. Like, why actually visit Taiwan?
And then where to go. The key spots they highlight.
Right. And maybe touch on some planning tips they offer as well. The sources definitely suggest there's a huge range. Food, adventure, history.
Nature. Seems like they genuinely think there's something for pretty much everyone.
Okay, so let's tackle that first big question from the material. Why Taiwan? They frame it as one of Asia's most underrated travel destinations.
Yeah, why underrated? What makes it special, according to them?
Well, first off, the landscape diversity. They really hammer this point home.
Packed into a small island, right?
Exactly. They mentioned lush mountains, hiking potential, hot springs, tropical beaches down south.
And those marble gorges like Taroko. That range is pretty impressive.
And it's not just the scenery. The cultural side gets a lot of attention, too.
Right, that mix of influences. They talk about Chinese, Japanese, and indigenous cultures all playing a part.
Which they suggest creates something really distinct. You see it in, daily life, buildings, definitely the food.
It's not just history in a museum, it's living culture, according to these sources.
And speaking of food, the material is pretty enthusiastic. Calls Taiwan a culinary paradise.
Oh, absolutely. They stress the whole spectrum. You've got the amazing night markets, the street food, but also, Michelin-starred restaurants. It covers everything.
They give specific examples, too, don't they? Things you have to try.
Yeah, the classics. Bubble tea, obviously. Stinky tofu.
Which, okay, the name is a bit intense.
Yeah. It has a strong smell, no doubt. But the flavor is supposed to be amazing, very popular. And oyster omelets, too.
A savory snack, right? Find it everywhere.
Seems like it. Yeah, makes the paradise claim pretty believable.
Okay, so culture, amazing food. What about the practical side? The sources mention that, too.
They do. They highlight how easy it is to get around the transport system.
Like the high-speed rail.
Exactly.
Yeah.
High-speed rail, buses, local transport networks makes exploring the island, pretty straightforward and convenient.
And this is a big one for travelers. Safety. They cite Taiwan as one of the safest countries globally.
Yeah, that definitely adds peace of mind when you're exploring somewhere new.
For sure. So yeah, it paints a really compelling picture, doesn't it? Nature, culture, food, easy and safe to travel.
Pulls it all together. So if the why is getting clearer, where do the sources suggest you actually go?
Okay, yeah, destinations. The sources walk through several key places that kind of showcase this diversity, starting naturally with Taipei.
The capital city.
Makes sense.
And the highlights they list are pretty iconic. Taipei 101, for starters.
That famous skyscraper used to be the world's tallest. Amazing views, I bet.
Totally. Then there's the National Palace Museum.
Oh, right. The huge collection of Chinese imperial artifacts. They call it a treasure trove.
Thousands and thousands of items. And food, again, the Shilin Night Market in Taipei gets a specific shout out.
Can't escape the food. A must-visit for that street food culture we talked about.
And they also mention the Chiang Kai-shek Memorial Hall, more on the historical, political side of things.
A significant landmark. They even give a practical tip for staying there.
Oh, yeah.
Suggesting districts like Xinyi or Zhongshan.
Yeah.
Good for accessing the main sites easily. Good tip.
Good.
Okay, moving away from the city buzz. Taroko Gorge.
Nature's masterpiece, as the source puts it.
Located in Taroko National Park. Known for that dramatic marble canyon.
Sounds incredible. Do they say how best to experience it?
Yeah, they mentioned specific things. Hiking the Shakadang Trail. Apparently it's an easier walk with great river views.
Okay.
Seeing the Swallow Grotto for the rock formations. And visiting the Eternal Spring Shrine.
Ah, the one that honors the highway workers. Built in a tough spot.
Exactly. Then, next up, the sources point to Sun Moon Lake, central Taiwan.
Described as a serene retreat, I think.
That's the one. Largest lake on the island. Seems popular for, a quieter getaway. Couples, families maybe.
And activities, what do they suggest there?
Boat cruises on the lake, cycling around it, visiting the Wenwu Temple, which looks pretty impressive,
Mm-hmm.
and exploring Idathao Village for a look at local indigenous culture.
Nice. Okay, heading further south now.
Yep, the sources take us to Kaohsiung, Taiwan's second largest city.
A big port city, right?
Right.
Blending waterfront, art.
And modern development.
Yeah.
They list a few must-sees.
Ah.
The Foguangshan Buddha Museum apparently is huge. The Louis Night Market for some southern food specialties.
Another night market.
Of course.
Okay.
Also, a Love River cruise. Sounds relaxing. And the Pier 2 Art Center for something more creative.
Cool. Okay, from the coast up to the mountains, Alishan.
Right. Majestic mountains and sunrise views. That's the description. It's a highland area.
Famous for the old forest railway, tea plantations.
And those amazing sunrises over a sea of clouds. It's pretty magical.
What are the must-dos there, according to the material?
Taking a ride on that Alishan Forest Railway is one. Getting up early for the sunrise at Zushan Viewpoint.
The classic Alishan experience.
Definitely. And just exploring the forests, walking among the ancient red cypress trees.
Wow. Okay, stepping back in time now.
Tainan. Yeah. Described as Taiwan's oldest city. It was the capital way back in the Qing Dynasty.
So the historical heart of the island.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
They highlight places like Shikan Tower and Anping Old Fort remnants from different eras.
The Confucius Temple, too. A classic.
And guess what? More food. Specifically, traditional street snacks, mentioning Goha Street.
Naturally. Seems like Tainan is a foodie hotspot, too.
Okay, down to the southern tip now. Kenting National Park.
Taiwan's tropical paradise. This is where the beaches are.
Exactly. Known for beaches, coral reefs, maybe a bit of nightlife too.
Which beaches do they mention?
Top ones listed are Baisha Beach, South Bay, and Little Bay. Sounds like a good place to chill out after all that exploring.
For sure. Okay, almost done with the destinations. Jifan and Shifan, back near Taipei.
Yeah, grouped together as charming mountain town charms. Known for nostalgia scenery.
Shifan is the place with the sky lanterns, right?
That's the one. Releasing sky lanterns is the big thing there. Creates quite a scene, apparently.
And Jifan.
That's the old gold mining town. Atmospheric old streets to wander. Plus, they mention nearby sites like the Golden Waterfall and the Yin Yang Sea.
Which has that weird two-toned water.
Right, wow, okay. That really covers a lot of ground. Historic cities, culture, mountains, gorges, lakes, beaches.
The sources really do lay out an incredible range of experiences. So, given all this, how do they suggest you actually, plan a trip?
Good question. They do include some practical advice and point towards tools. There's a specific mention of a travel booking portal, FlightNHotels.com.
Okay, what do they say about it?
Described as a way to simplify finding deals. The benefit, according to this source, is comparing lots of providers to save money.
Uh-huh. Worldwide access, user-friendly interface. The usual pitch for these kinds of sites.
Pretty much. The idea is booking flights. They mentioned Taipei's main airport, Taiyuan International, TPE hotels, car rentals, all in one spot.
Makes sense. Does the material offer any, sample itineraries?
It does suggest a potential 7-day route, just as a framework,
How does it flow?
Starts in Taipei, heads to Jufan, then Sun Moon Lake, Alishan, down to Kaohsiung, maybe Kenting, then back to Taipei.
So it strings together quite a few of those key places we discussed, gives you a feel for the logistics.
Exactly. And then they wrap up with a few other key travel tips for when you're actually there.
Like currency, language.
Yep. Currency is the new Taiwan dollar, TWD. Main language is Mandarin Chinese, but English is apparently quite widely understood in cities and tourist spots.
Get to know. Best time to visit.
They suggest October to April. Generally cooler and drier weather then.
Connectivity. SIM cards.
Easy enough. Get a local SIM or an eSIM at the airport on arrival. Standard procedure these days.
And getting around locally.
A big tip is using an Easy Card. Works for the metro, buses, even some trains right across the island. Super convenient.
Okay, that's genuinely useful info. So pulling it all together from these sources, Taiwan really comes across as this land of amazing contrasts.
Totally. Wonders everywhere. From Taipei's modern skyline to Tainan's ancient temples.
Alishan's mountains, Kenting's beach, the whole range.
And the material really pushes that idea. With this much diversity, there truly is something to appeal to almost any kind of traveler.
Yeah, that message comes through loud and clear.
And the sources also suggest, that tools like that booking portal they mentioned can help make planning a trip through all this feel a bit more seamless, maybe more affordable.
Right. Makes it seem less daunting to tackle such a diverse place.
So thinking about everything we've just discussed, this incredible mix the sources highlight, Ancient traditions right alongside super fast innovation, all these different cultural inputs, the stunning nature packed next to modern cities.
It's quite a combination.
It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? How might Taiwan, as presented in these sources, serve as maybe a unique case study or perhaps an example for understanding the complexities of identity and progress in our, hyper-connected 21st century world?
That's a fascinating thought to end on. How does a place manage all those layers simultaneously? Something definitely worth pondering.